All right, here's more from our Department of Worrying Headlines, right? Late payments are spiking for U.S. consumers with top credit scores. Now, U.S. consumers with the best credit are really showing signs at higher rates of delinquencies. So listen to this. The number of U.S. consumers with the best credit scores making late payments doubled in the last year. That's big. Now, here's the skinny, though. The number of subprime consumers with credit scores in that 781 to 850 range, who are more than 90 days behind on debt repayments, is up 109% over this time last year, according to Vantage Score tracking. So I guess it won't be long before their credit scores start to tank too, right? Now, in relative terms, the sharpest increase in delinquencies was seen in super prime and prime customers who are typically considered the most financially secure, Rickard Badenko, chief economist at Vantage Score, told Reuters. Credit card and auto loan delinquencies have climbed to 2008-2009 recession levels. You can credit America's buy now, pay later economy, increasingly fueled by leverage for that. Not a lot of good news there. Now, we brought on our next guest to turn our frowns upside down, hopefully. Please welcome to the show, Ms. Rebecca Walser, Walser Wealth Management from Tampa, Florida. Thanks for coming on the show, Rebecca. Yeah, there's not a lot of good news out there. When you start to see those upper tier folks start to crack, that's a little worrying.
I mean, I can't tell you how alarming this actually is, Scott. You know, I don't want to become an alarmist. I don't want to go hyperbolic on anything. But I got to tell you, at one point in last year, in 2024, the CEO of Louis Vuitton was one of the, richest people in the world because we had such a bifurcation of the economy where with the people that were high credit borrowers, having money, still spending on luxury, still shopping, still purchasing, still traveling. And we said, okay, we see a bifurcated economy here. We see that the middle to lower class are struggling, can't afford their credit cards on these interest rates, can't afford to buy a new house, can't refinance their house, can't do all these things. But we can see that retail is still being carried by the upper half that still have this bifurcated, still have the room to run. Now we're starting to see this turn in even the upper half. And that is the alarmist that we're really seeing, Scott. That's the alarming trend here because we have relied, and I know Powell has absolutely relied on the bifurcation and basically the upper half carrying the weight of the full economy and still buying. This is, 70% of our GDP is through the purchase of goods and services. We are a service-based economy. And so if people are not buying, if they have to slow down on their purchases on the retail side, our GDP and our economy will enter recessionary territory very, very quickly. So when you start to see this kind of delinquency at the upper bounds of credit scores, and by the way, you miss one payment, you have one 90-day late payment, you don't have a 750, 850 score anymore. That's out the window, by the way, just FYI. So the fact that we're really seeing this as a predominant trend now on the upper half of the economy, that is alarming because we have not seen that weakness yet to date, Scott.
And, yes, you're right. And I would say the only thing I might change about what you had to say there, I totally agree with you, is that, what percent of the economy's got a 781 to 850 credit score? I don't think it's half. I think it's probably 10%. So we're worried about the upper 10%, which has really been kind of dragging us the 90% along, maybe at the most 20% dragging 80% along. Either way, it's a very small minority of the people that have been really kind of keeping this economy afloat. And now they're starting to slowly but surely crack underneath the strains. That jobs number was not good that we got last Friday. That's got to give other folks some pause for concern. So my question really is you try as he might, Donald Trump, to do all the right things to turn this thing around. It's an aircraft carrier. It's going to take time. We're going to have to give him time to see some of the changes that he's put in place today. And some of them might not come to fruition until he's even out of office. But we have not given the middle class to the middle to lower class any relief. Their prices have still been rising, albeit maybe at a slower pace, 3.33% or 2.7% instead of 9%, but still, prices haven't gone down for them anywhere, and they're still going up. Artificial intelligence is getting rid of a lot of their jobs, too. I mean, when do folks start to see some sort of benefit or a light at the end of the tunnel, which is not going to be a train?
Yeah. So let me clarify, because I'm so glad you said that, to clarify my comments. And I in no way meant to say that half of the country is on the upper end of the scale of 750 to 850. I didn't mean to say that in any way. But we are bifurcated. And what I meant was the percentage of retail that happens at the upper end, it can obviously swallow the percentage of retail that's on the bottom half, mid to bottom half. And we have relied on that. Certainly, we don't have anything near even 20% of our population having credit scores that high. That is a very high credit score range that's reserved for probably less than 5% of the economy, to be honest. But certainly their outsized purchases have continued to float us. As far as getting this ship righted, unfortunately, Scott, Trump is going to be facing headwinds, and there are massive institutional ingrained headwinds with China and the World Trade Organization, and this is going to be painful, and it's going to take time. When we see India making moves closer to China and Russia and realigning themselves against Trump and kind of that way, that is alarmist to me, and that's very concerning. We have a currency transition that's begun with the BRICS bloc. We are no longer unipolar. Just United States is all that matters. The rest of the world matters, and they're moving to the east. And so I want as much grace for this administration as possible, because they are really dealing with this coming to reality. And he is trying to put in policies that will help our country, which is why people can say, oh, he can't be protectionist, he shouldn't be doing tariffs. But what else can he do as the world moves away from the dollar? He is doing what he needs to do to strengthen our possibility of going through this transition as painlessly as possible, although it is not going to be pain-free. It is going to be painful, unfortunately. It just is. This is where we are. We are going to reap the consequences of what we've done.
Rebecca, unfortunately, you've been right on this program since you've been on this program. You've been right all along. You got a lot of fans that know how right you've been. And then to say what you just said about what Trump's got to be doing with tariffs and the likes, you know what? Even then, when he's trying to do some things that we think maybe will give us a good chance, you've got these crazy courts that say he's not allowed to do the tariffs, crazy courts that say he's not allowed to deport people. He's got everybody against him when he's trying to do the right thing. It's Herculean. It really is. We'll see if he can get it done. But you've been right. We should listen to you, and I really, really appreciate you coming on. A lot of fans, when I travel, they all want to ask about Rebecca Walser. I appreciate you coming on the show, Rebecca. Thank you very much. Rebecca Walser.